What's up, Guardians? Profane here. Thanks for checking out the video. Today we're doing a little DPS testing to determine which heavy machine gun is currently the best and strongest machine gun to use against bosses. We've gathered 17 different heavy machine guns, 5 exotics, and 12 legendaries, and we'll be using these heavy machine guns up against the first boss in Grasp of Avarice. Farazia, maybe? I don't know how to pronounce this one, so correct me in the comments down below. In an attempt to reduce variables, we're not using any weapon surges, void debuffs, solar radiance, no divinity, and no tractor cannon. Rapid fire ranger does end up proccing a few different times with some of these machine guns, but in the end, it didn't make a big enough impact to skew the data. A well of radiance with Luna factions will be the one constant throughout our testing, which will increase the damage dealt by any weapon by 25%. Luna factions will boost the reload speed of all weapons by 100%. Standing in a well will also provide us with enough resilience to bear the full force of these void blasts while we're collecting DPS data. In no specific order, we are testing the Retrofit Escapade, the 21% Delirium, the Recurrent Impact, Archon's Thunder, the Chain of Command, the Commemoration, Terminus Horizon, the Song of Ir Yut, the Unwavering Duty, Circular Logic, the Swarm, and the new Season of the Witch heavy machine gun, the Eleatic Principle. We're also testing the Heir Apparent, the Thunderlord, Deterministic Chaos, Xenophage, and the Grand Overture. The first machine gun we'll be testing is the Terminus Horizon with Target Lock. This heavy machine gun comes from Spire of the Watcher, a 360 RPM high impact arc machine gun. It has a ton of impact and range, but will that help it top the charts in damage? Unfortunately, no. With the addition of Well of Radiance, Terminus Horizon only puts up a total of 608,000 points within the 30 seconds of damage. While it's not the worst damage numbers, it's far from the best, and a lot of this is due to the lower rate of fire that the Terminus Horizon offers. Up next, we have the Chain of Command. Once upon a time, this was a seasonal ritual weapon, a 450 RPM adaptive framed stasis machine gun, which doesn't offer any major weapon traits that will help improve its overall damage. So how does the Chain of Command perform against this boss? Not so well, actually. Even with Well of Radiance, this machine gun only puts out 557,000 points of damage, significantly less than the Terminus Horizon. This machine gun just flat out suffers due to its lack of a damage bonus perk. Up next, another former ritual weapon, the 21% Delirium. This is a 900 RPM rapid fire machine gun, which comes with overflow. In its prime, this machine gun was all the rage, but how does it perform now against this boss? Well, to no surprise, it performs exceptionally well. With the addition of Well of Radiance, this machine gun puts up 862,000 points of damage. Pretty impressive out of a sunset weapon. In large part, these damage numbers are a result of the high rate of fire that rapid fire framed machine guns offer, along with the addition of overflow. Up next, the Recurrent Impact. This heavy machine gun is back in rotation as of this season. Another 900 RPM rapid fire framed stasis machine gun. This machine gun can drop with Frenzy or Focused Fury, providing this weapon with either a 20% or a 15% increase in damage. Neither of these are included in the version of Recurrent Impact that we are using today, so let that be a reflection on its overall damage. In the end, the Recurrent Impact puts out some solid numbers, just over 700,000 points of damage. With the addition of Focused Fury or Frenzy, you'd likely see an additional 30 to 50,000 points out of the Recurrent Impact. So all in all, not bad, just not great. Up next, the Archon's Thunder, a 360 RPM solar machine gun, another high impact frame. This Iron Banner machine gun only includes one damage bonus in its right column, and that is High Impact Reserves, which only improves the damage of the bottom of the magazine, ranging from a 12% increase in damage up to 25%. So how does the Archons do on damage? Surprisingly, better than the Terminus Horizon, putting up just over 600,000 points of damage. And now let's check out the Unwavering Duty, a Trials adaptive framed machine gun that can come with firing line in its right column, a perk that we unfortunately cannot take the benefits of, as I'm just one lonely guardian, but Unwavering Duty can also come with Focused Fury. But the real question is, how does this heavy machine gun perform against this boss? Well, pretty mid honestly. After 30 seconds, this machine gun puts up 571,000 points of damage. This would have been bumped up to around 685,000 if firing line had been active, which would still see this machine gun performing rather subpar. And now the Commemoration. This 450 RPM Void machine gun comes from Deepstone Crypt, another adaptive frame that can come with Reconstruction or 4th times the charm, along with either Focused Fury, firing line, or Redirection. After 30 seconds against this boss, this heavy machine gun puts up 593,000 points of damage. That's without Reconstruction or 4th times the charm. Either one of these traits would have permitted us to avoid at least one of the reloads during this damage phase, increasing the potential damage output by another 100,000 points, give or take. Redirection ultimately didn't provide a long-term benefit to the Commemoration's damage, but with firing line or Focused Fury, we could see that damage increased by another 200,000 points, bringing the Commemoration's maximum damage potential to around 900,000, which would certainly be the best we've seen so far. Next up is the Song of Ir Yut, another adaptive framed 450 RPM machine gun. This one comes from Crota's End and offers several different damage bonuses, including Higher Ground, Sword Logic, Target Lock, or Bait and Switch. We're currently using Bait and Switch along with Reconstruction. This is going to give us a 35% increase to this weapon's damage after we've hit a target with our other two weapons. Since this bonus relies on a rotation, this means that the Wither Horde will be adding to the overall damage of the Song of Ir Yut. Because of this, we re-ran these numbers a few times over, and after 30 seconds of damage, this heavy machine gun was able to pump out between 900 and 970,000 points of damage. By using Target Lock, we would have received a stacking bonus in damage that would have maxed out at 40%, whereas Bait and Switch provided a straight out 35% bonus that was sustained for 10 seconds, which we were able to continuously reapply, making Bait and Switch a much more viable option when it comes to DPS rotations. Next up, the Swarm. This 360 RPM high impact framed machine gun is a Vanguard Nightfall weapon, and we've currently got Vorpal in the right column, giving us an across the board 10% increase in damage versus any boss. Target Lock and Golden Tricorn are also available damage bonuses. After 30 seconds of damage, the Swarm puts up a total of 559 points of damage. Since Target Lock's maximum damage wouldn't kick in until the majority of the magazine was already gone, the Swarm would likely see just an additional 50 or maybe even 75,000 points, give or take, which still puts this machine gun as a rather subpar form of DPS. Next up, we have the Circular Logic, a strand adaptive frame machine gun that comes with nano tracer rockets, which is going to add a significant amount of damage. We've got Envious Assassin, which is going to bump the magazine up to over 130 rounds, with Vorpal giving us an extra 10% bonus in damage. After the dust is settled, the Circular Logic puts up some pretty big numbers, thanks to the addition of nanotech tracer rockets, bringing this machine gun's damage total to 932,000 points. Pretty impressive. Next, we move on to the Eleatic Principle, a 900 RPM rapid-fire machine gun with Target Lock, and I have to say, all things considered, I was pretty impressed with the amount of damage that this puts up. After 30 seconds against this boss, this machine gun racked in 720,000 points of damage. Its biggest drawback is the lack of a left column trait, like Reconstruction or 4th times the charm, but still yet, pretty solid numbers from this new seasonal weapon. The last legendary machine gun we're testing out today is the Retrofit Escapade. This has been one of the best legendary machine guns for boss damage ever since it was introduced. With target lock and 4th times the charm combined, after 30 seconds against this boss, this 900 RPM Void machine gun puts up over 1,000,000 points of damage. Absolutely incredible. And keep in mind, this is without the benefit of weapon surge mods or debuffs that would increase the total even more. And now we dip into the exotic machine guns, and we start with the Thunderlord. It's no secret that this heavy machine gun can deal out some major damage. It's routinely featured in many DPS rotations, thanks to its ability to refill its magazine after consecutive precision shots. And after 30 seconds of tangling with this ogre, the Thunderlord drops a crisp and cool 1.1 million damage. With a tad bit more accuracy, this would most likely be closer to the 1.3 million range. And now we test out the Xenophage, and you'll be surprised to find that this slow-firing, nail-driving, explosive round-having machine gun matches the output of the Thunderlord, and if it had not been for running out of ammo, a few additional shots could have been taken to improve upon that 1.1 million damage. Very, very impressive. Next up, the Deterministic Chaos. I had a lot of high hopes for this machine gun going into this test. It weakens enemies and makes them volatile, so I was sure that this would perform well. But sadly, when everything was said and done, this machine gun couldn't even put up 500,000 points against this boss. Pretty disappointing to say the least. Moving on, we have the Heir Apparent, another machine gun that really impressed me, putting up just over 1,000,000 points of damage against this boss. I had figured since this machine gun's main appeal is its overshield that it just wouldn't pump out a lot of damage, but with 200 rounds in the magazine, this thing spits out fire and straight up wrecks this boss for over 1,000,000 points of damage. And the last heavy machine gun that we'll look at today is the Grand Overture. We saved the best for last because this thing will absolutely melt anything. And it's another Cabal themed weapon. Ain't it funny how the Cabal have provided Guardians with several top tier weapons? So this 100 round per minute machine gun has two firing modes. One that fires out slug rounds, which build up rockets that are used in its alternate mode. This fires off a volley of up to 20 rockets, and when you come out of the gate firing off 20 rockets, you're going to wreck some stuff. After 2 volleys of rockets and several slug rounds, the Grand Overture finished with an easy 1.2 million damage, the most of any other heavy machine gun, and that's with a few shots getting missed, and with 9 rockets still in the chamber when damage phase ended. While it's not the landslide victory like I had expected it to be, the Grand Overture continues to dominate in the land of top tier heavy machine guns, and the Retrofit Escapade continues to be the top choice in legendary options. I'll be honest in saying that I was extremely disappointed in the performance of the Deterministic Chaos and the Swarm. I really had higher hopes for these two machine guns, but at the end of the day, someone's gotta be first and someone's gotta be last. And today, the Grand Overture secured its position as first. And that's going to wrap things up for today's video on the best and strongest DPSing heavy machine guns that are currently in Destiny 2 Lightfall. Thank you as always for checking out today's video. If you enjoyed, found it helpful, and want to see more, then be sure to hit that like button below, the subscribe button if you're new, and sound off in the comments down below to let us know what your favorite heavy machine gun is. And until next time, Guardians, this has been Profane, wishing you all some happy hunting.